Yeah, I know. Another video now on ROR cards. But what to do, guys? I told you, the more you practice, the better you will get at it. So here is video number 26. Now, previously I have made 25 videos on these rule of the road cards, and each of these videos comprises a set of 9 different cards so that you can practice along with it. Because if you are going for your oral examination, whether it's second mates or chief mates, there is a high probability that you will be asked or you'll be shown one of these cards or few of these cards and asked to recognize the lights shown in it. So make sure that you practice as many cards as possible and become very good at it, because if you are good in your rules of the road right up to the master's level, the surveyors are very impressed. They may forgive a few of the operational errors and mistakes here and there, but they don't like to see that the students are making errors in rules of the road. So here we go. So the first card here you see is there are 3 white lights in a vertical line, which indicates that it is a towing operation, and there is a white light horizontally separated from those 3 lights, which indicates that the length of the towing vessel is probably 50 meters or more. Now the 3 lights, white lights in a vertical line also indicate that not only it's a towing operation, but the length of the tow exceeds 200 meters. Because if the length of the tow did not exceed 200 meters, there would be 2 white lights in a vertical line. Now, because you see the green light, that means the vessel is underway and it is being seen from the starboard side, because the green light is the starboard side light. When you see this vessel, you are seeing the starboard aspect of it. You will maintain your course and speed because you are the stand-on vessel. In this case, the vessel is on your port side, and this vessel is not restricted in her ability to maneuver. So that means that she can take action to avoid collision, and that makes her like a normal power driven vessel, and that is why you maintain your course and speed. It is her duty to keep clear of you. During the daytime, this vessel will display a diamond shape to indicate that her length of tow exceeds 200 meters, and during fog and restricted visibility she will be sounding one prolonged blast followed by 2 short blasts. Here you have 2 red lights in a vertical line, which indicates that this is an aground vessel. Then you have 2 white lights horizontally separated from one another, and you will know that indicates that of course it's a vessel, but the vessel is more than 50 meters in length, because if it was less than 50 meters, then you would have only one white masthead light. Now this vessel is being seen from the port side. Now you may wonder, why is it the port side, why not the starboard side? Because the aft masthead light is higher than the forward. That's because when the vessel is aground, it becomes like the vessel displays the masthead lights like anchor lights. So the the forward masthead light is at a higher length, and the white light which is at a lower level is actually not the masthead light. It's like a stern light, so it is at a lower level than the forward masthead light, and that is why what you see here may look like a starboard aspect of a normal power driven vessel, but it is a port aspect or a port side of a vessel at ground or a vessel at anchor, if it was a vessel at anchor. When you see this vessel, you will sound one short blast, alter course to starboard and reverse course by 180 degrees and inform master immediately, because if you are seeing a vessel aground, that means there could be a probability that there is low depth of water and you don't want to take any chances, and especially if you are not expecting to see a vessel aground or to see low depths, it is better that you go on the reciprocal course and inform master and let the master come on the bridge and assess the situation and then take further action. This vessel during the daytime will show 3 balls in a vertical line to indicate she's aground. If she is less than 100 meters during fog, she will sound 3 strokes on bell before and after the rapid ringing of bell for 5 seconds. If she is 100 meters or more, then she will sound 3 strokes on bell before and after rapid ringing of bell for 5 seconds in the forward part and rapid ringing of the gong for 5 seconds in the after part. Additionally, she may also sound 2 short and 1 prolonged blast in addition to the above sound signals during fog and restricted visibility. You see 2 white lights here horizontally separated, but they are at the same level. So here, and I used to hate these kind of lights because it used to confuse me a lot, but I'm just explaining how I would go about recognizing these lights now. So if you see these 2 white lights in horizontal separated horizontally, this could mean that it's an inconspicuously partly submerged vessel or object, or their combination being towed. So where the breadth is less than 25 meters and length is 100 meters or less, because if the breadth was more than 25 meters you would have some additional lights displaying the extremities of the breadth. And because it is not, you have the lights for the towing vessel, you can find those rules there. But you see these two white lights horizontally separated, so they are partly submerged vessels, and they are inconspicuous. They are not conspicuous, they're inconspicuous, not easily noticed, and they are objects or their combination being towed, and the breadth is less than 25 meters. All right. When you see this vessel, your action will be according to the position of the tug. Whether you alter to starboard or whether she takes action, it depends on that. At this moment you cannot assess the situation, so in ROR cards, if you cannot honestly or confidently assess the situation by the lights that is shown to you, don't try making assumptions or don't give answers that you're not sure of, because the surveyor will ask you to justify your answer. So make sure that if you cannot assess the situation, as would be the case at sea, based on the lights that you are shown to you, only say the ones that you are confident about. Otherwise the surveyor may have a follow-up question, and that will be tough for you to answer, especially if you don't know according to which rule you are quoting the lights. All right. Then this vessel will be displaying one diamond at or near the aftermost extremity of the last vessel or object, because that pretty much indicates the end of the objects. And if the tow exceeds 200 meters, then additional diamond is displayed forward. This vessel will not display or not sound any fog signal. Here you see a red, white, red in a vertical line that immediately tells you this is a vessel that is restricted in her ability to maneuver, or a ram vessel, or it could be a dredger without obstruction, probably 50 meters or more in length, but less than 100 meters at anchor seen from port side. So why all these things are coming up is because when you see these two white lights horizontally separated, where one light is at a higher level than the other, then this could be these are the two masthead lights. All right, and the additional masthead light indicates this vessel is 50 meters or more in length. But it is less than 100 meters at anchor, because if it was more than 100 meters at anchor, all the deck lights would be on and you would be seeing more deck lights. This could be a port aspect of a vessel at anchor. Again, like I told you before, the anchor lights, the forward anchor light is at a much higher level than the aft anchor light, so it becomes like it acts like a stern light. It is at a lower level, and that's why it is the port aspect of this vessel. Or it could be a vessel restricted in ability to maneuver, displaying the red, white, red lights, but because the side lights are not being seen, because she's restricted in her ability to maneuver. When you see this vessel, you will sound one short blast alter course to starboard and pass stern of it, because this is a port aspect of the vessel that you are watching, and you will try to pass the stern of this vessel. This vessel will display a ball, diamond and ball in a vertical line to indicate that she is restricted in her ability to maneuver, and if she's at anchor, she will also display an additional ball in the forward part of the vessel. This vessel will also sound one prolonged followed by two short blasts in fog and restricted visibility conditions. Here again, like I told you before, these were my least of my favorite cards. I never used to like these cards which had like three white lights or one white light, and because I used to struggle identifying these lights. But see, the more you practice, you get an idea of these lights, because now you see these three white lights are horizontally separated, and before I showed you two white lights that were horizontally separated. So these three are horizontally separated as well, and the identification is the same. They are again a set of inconspicuous, partly submerged vessel or objects or combination being towed, where length of tow is 200 meters or less. All right, and if the action of your vessel when you see this vessel will be again according to the position of the tug. As soon as you see the tug, you will realize where the vessel is heading, because it depends on whether you have to take the action or not, or whether the other vessel will take action. This vessel will display one diamond at or near the aftermost extremity of the last vessel or object being towed to indicate that that's the last vessel, and if the tow exceeds 200 meters, then one additional diamond is shown forward. Here again, no fog signal is being displayed, and again by these lights you cannot have an indication of the breadth of the vessel. So if the breadth is 25 meters or more, there is an additional white light that you display to indicate the breadth or the extremities of the breadth. But here, because you cannot make that assessment, don't say anything like that to the surveyor, all right, unless he or she asks you. Here you see a green over a white light that tells you this is a trawler vessel. Alright, so the green over white light is at a higher level than the two red lights. in a vertical line. So when you see these two red lights in a vertical line, don't assume that this is a aground vessel, because the aground vessel, the two red lights will be at a higher level than the masthead lights, but here the two red lights at a lower level. Moreover, the green over white light should tell you that this is a trawler. Green over white is a trawler, red over white is a fishing vessel. So green over white is a trawler, and this trawler is probably 50 meters or more, because you see an additional white masthead light horizontally separated from the green over white light. But it could be at stopped, or it could be at anchor, because you don't see any side lights, so you don't know whether it's making way or not. So you will say it's either stopped or it's at anchor. And the nets are fast on an obstruction. That is indicated by the two red lights in a vertical line. So two red lights in a vertical line are basically indicating nets are fast on an obstruction. This is the starboard aspect of the vessel, and that you can see from the positioning of the masthead light. Then we have, when you see this vessel, you will sound two short blast alter course to port. A lot of the seafarers may say that why do you alter course to port? But again, because this is a trawler and it is the action of the power driven vessel to keep clear of the vessel, if you see the starboard aspect of this vessel, it is easier for you to alter course to port and pass the stern of it, rather than you altering course to starboard and keeping altering and continuously altering, and you might have to make a much broader alteration. But this is a trawler. This trawler knows that it is your duty as a power driven vessel to keep clear of it. So if you alter course to port, there will be no confusion, so don't worry about that. This vessel will display two cones with apexes together in a vertical line to indicate that she is a trawler, and she will sound one prolonged blast followed by two short blasts during fog and restricted visibility. Again, you see a green over white light which tells you this is a trawler vessel. An additional white light horizontally separated from the green over white light tells you that this vessel is probably 50 meters or more. She could be underway but stopped or at anchor. Why? Because you don't see the side lights. You don't see any side lights. You cannot make any comments on whether she's making way or not. So you have to tell the surveyor that this could be underway but stopped, or she could be at anchor. I'm not sure because I don't see any side lights. The white over the red light at the bottom, or the lower level from the green over white light, tells you she's hauling nets. Alright, so in the previous card you had two red lights in a vertical line that indicated nets were fast upon an obstruction, whereas here you see the white over the red light that tells you that she is hauling nets. When you see this vessel, you will sound one short blast alter course to starboard, because you are seeing the port aspect of this vessel. How do you know this is a port aspect? You can see it by the positioning of the masthead lights. This vessel will indicate two, or rather display two cones with apexes together in a vertical line to indicate she's a trawler vessel, but also because she's hauling nets as indicated by white over the red light, you will display the flag Golf, or the flag G, letter G or Golf. She will sound one prolonged blast followed by two short blasts in conditions of fog and restricted visibility. Again, like I told you, this used to be my least of my favorite cards. If you see one single white light, there are a lot of options here, and go with the options that are most comfortable to you, because I used to always say this is a power driven vessel that is underway seen from astern, because I could see only the stern light. But you can add to it that this could be a power driven vessel or a sailing vessel that is underway seen from astern. That used to be my easiest identification. I'll be very honest with you, I could not remember all the possibilities. Now maybe I can, but when I was a cadet, when I was second mate or chief mate, I could not remember all the possibilities. So easiest one for me used to be this is a power driven vessel that I'm seeing underway seen from astern, or I used to say this is a power driven vessel less than 50 meters underway and out of range of side lights. But the third option, of course, you can see there are a lot of options. It could be an all-round light of a vessel less than 50 meters at anchor, or a vessel under oars, or a power-driven vessel less than 7 meters, speed not exceeding 7 knots, power-driven vessel less than 12 meters out of range of side lights, or a sailing vessel less than 7 meters. But I'll be very honest with you guys, I could not remember all these options. I used to just go with the easiest, the first two, and then just hope that I would not be shown this card. Again, you can pretty much read the action that is to be taken based on the different scenarios. If you are seeing the stern light, you basically sound one short blast and alter course to starboard. And the second case, you basically wait for the side lights to show up so that you can make a better assessment of the situation and you get a better idea of where the vessel is heading, and then you take action and accordingly. Same with the day signal. If it's an anchored vessel, you will have one ball in the forward part, otherwise there will be no other day signal, because if you are seeing a stern light of a power driven vessel, they will have no day signal or day shapes to show. And again, fog signal is as per the different possibilities. It could be one prolonged blast followed by two short blasts, or the different possibilities that is shown. You better go with one prolonged followed by two short blasts. That is the easiest one to remember. But this card used to be one of the toughest cards for me. I remember the most challenging card for me, and that's why I'm letting you know. I'll be very honest with you. I could not remember all the options, but good luck to you guys if you can. But otherwise, just go with the ones that come naturally to you, and that will be good enough for the survey, I'm sure. Finally, we have two vessels displaying green over white light, again, which tells you that there is a trawling operation going on. But because you see two sets of lights, you know that there is a paired trawling going on. So if there are two sets of green over white light, it's a paired trawling operation. And when you see two sets of vertical red lights, that means that these both vessels have nets that are fast on an obstruction, something that we discussed previously, and they could be underway but stopped because you don't see any other side lights or stern light or anything like that. And when you see this vessel, you will sound one short blast alter course to starboard and keep clear of the vessel, because they could be having nets around it, and make a broad alteration as much as your sufficient sea room allows. So always remember that if you say broad alteration and the survey says by how much, you will say as much as my sea room allows, for keeping in mind my CPA with the other vessels as well. Both these vessels will show two cones with apexes together in a vertical line to indicate that they are trawlers, but they will also display the flag Tango or the letter T, flag T, which indicates they are engaged in pair trawling. So if you are familiar with the International Code of Signals and you know what each letter stands for, then Tango stands for vessels engaged in pair trawling. And each of these vessels will of course sound one prolonged blast followed by two short blasts when in conditions of fog and restricted visibility.